Please have a roll call.
Commissioner Cantu,
Here.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Reed,
Here.
Commissioner Paris, Commissioner Strickland, Commissioner May, Mayor Derrick L. Henry.
Here.
Motion to excuse Commissioner Henry.
We have a motion from Commissioner Strickland and a second from Commissioner May. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. We'll now move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the August 21st, 2024 City Commission meeting.
So move.
Second.
All right, we'll take a motion from Commissioner Cantu and a second from Commissioner Reed. If there are no questions or comments, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. This time we'll have our agenda approval. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, we're adding item 8Y, City Manager's Office, Volusia County Opioid Abatement Funding Advisory Board reappointment. Item 8Z, Bike Week Sponsorship Funds, authorizing the following expenditure of Bike Week funds from Commissioner Juanita May, $900 to Sacrificing, Believing, and Manifesting for the Miscana Conference, $500 to Halifax Historical Society, Inc. for the Florida Association Museums Conference. That concludes those changes.
I move to accept the agenda with the said changes.
All right, we have a motion, Commissioner Reed, second, Commissioner May. There are no questions or comments. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, now move on to item number 6, which is our presentations. Item 6A is the Proclamation for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And we do have members of the IT team coming to.
Behind the scenes, great work is being done in Daytona Beach. And one of the things that we know in this modern world is that one of the great dangers to any city, any municipality, is the dangers associated with cyber attacks. We, Daytona Beach, has an amazing team that does some amazing work. And I just think about the 15 years that I've been a part of the DIAS overall now, and it has been an amazing transformation and change in what you all do and what you all spend. Costs a lot of money that you don't see, but it has to be done. So, in recognition of Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which we all should take seriously, whereas the digital age has brought unprecedented benefits to our society, transforming the way we communicate, work, learn, and play, while also introducing challenges to our security. And whereas the city of Daytona Beach recognizes the vital role that cybersecurity plays in the continued prosperity and growth of our community. And whereas maintaining the security of cyberspace is a shared responsibility for which every individual and organization has a crucial role to play. And whereas the frequency, scale, and sophistication of cyber threats continues to rise, targeting our infrastructure, businesses, schools, and homes. And whereas promoting education and awareness about cyber threats and the steps to protect our information and digital assets is of utmost importance. And whereas the United States Department of Homeland Security and the National Cybersecurity Alliance and Infrastructure Security Agency have designated October as National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Now, therefore, I, Derrick L. Henry, Mayor of the City of Daytona Beach, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2024 as Cybersecurity Awareness Month in the city of Daytona Beach, Florida. And I encourage all citizens, businesses, and institutions to engage in activities promoting a safer and more secure cyber environment. Thank you all for your great work. Appreciate it. All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, he's gonna. Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you again for the recognition of Cybersecurity Month, October. In the efforts that we're doing to extend our security, the IT department has not only been working behind the scenes, but we're trying to extend our knowledge and be able to benefit our citizens. So we've got a few events that we've been working with other departments here. October 15th at the Schneblys at 12 p.m. and Sunnylands on October 12th at 11. And we're going to have these posted on our website. But these are going to be public cybersecurity classes that we're going to hold. And it's one of a few that we've already done, and we plan on continuing to do more. This particular topic is going to cover citizens, individuals, that if you've been compromised, what do you do? What resources are available? In the efforts of Cybersecurity Month, the City of Daytona Beach and Ormond Beach are hosting cybersecurity training for all senior management staff. So that's going to happen October 10th. And February 13th, the City IT Department is also going to have a tabletop exercise with all department heads to go over incidents that may occur and how the city is going to be able to respond. So that's my update, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to item 6B, and this is a presentation of the golf tournament check by Mayor Derrick L. Henry to Mr. and Mrs. Mentoring Program. Keith.
Before they come up, I want to say something. Because Mr. Willis is here, and he's our, what's your title? He's the Director, Big Shot of Leisure Services. Parks and Recreation, but your shirt says Leisure Services, but we don't do that anymore. They won't give you a new one. They won't give you a new one. Well, that's okay. We appreciate the keeping it tight. But I say this to say, Mr. Willis, Parks and Recreation this summer, part of the mayor's golf tournament proceeds went to fund students who attend our summer recreation program. And I was very pleased with that because earlier in the year, I asked a student who was in my office why I didn't see him this summer at the mayor's boot camp, which I had seen him before, but I didn't see him this year. And he told me that he said, well, we couldn't go because my mother had a outstanding bill. And so it just let me know that the money that we sent to that end, and I think one of the commissioners, Commissioner Reed, has used funds to help support that, because a lot of times you'll have a parent who will find themselves immersed in a situation and and it's not a lot of money. It's the best child care that you can receive for the best price I know anywhere. It's maybe $30 a week per child, if I recall correctly. And it's just, you know, the programming, the activities, the professionalism, and the things that they're exposed to are just amazing. So I just want to say that part of the mayor's proceeds went to fund that as well, and I was very pleased and happy about that. But tonight we're here to talk about one of my favorite causes and charities. Come on up, sir. Always good to see you. Who's this handsome young man?
My name's Caleb.
Caleb? Okay, awesome. Nice to meet you, Caleb. Mr. and Ms. Mentoring, you cannot say enough about what they do and the impact of this young man and all of the folks who work with him. He believes in team building. He believes in pushing others up. But I have seen firsthand the impact that he has on young people. And I have seldom seen families and mothers and fathers in particular get any more excited about the work that they do. I went to visit him about 6 or 7 years ago at his facility, and I was blown away at how much he does with so little, but the number of lives that he touches is amazing. He's partnering with us in the city, running a mentoring program at YSG. But this year, I'll allow you to make some remarks if you'd like, but this year, the mayor's golf tournament raised over $8,000 profit, and $4,000 of it is going to Mr. and Ms. Mentoring. Take a picture right here. You get in the middle, son. Sharp man in the middle.
Microphones are actually.
Okay.
Yep.
What school you go to? Did you the seventh grade? Something to say? You have something to say? Go ahead. I have something to say.
My name is Caleb. I'm in 8th grade and I attend Campbell Middle School. The things that we did and learned last summer with the mentoring program, one thing that we learned about like finance and business, and we met a lot of people that own business in the local area, and we had a lot of guest speakers and like people that go to college, like local colleges. We toured local HBCUs like BCU. We toured local colleges like Daytona State, Embry-Riddle, and it's a learning summer camp, and you get to meet new people, open up, and we did a lot of fun things. Like we played with players from Daytona State, and like we had a really good time.
Thank you. Spartan, you good?
I ain't gonna talk too much. I'd rather, let some of our kids speak for herself. He's one of the kids that I've seen a lot of confidence building in him, and he's played basketball for the Campbell Middle School. So when I see kids that have talents or have some ambitions, I like to kind of bring them out and show them firsthand. I don't know how many kids are coming to commission meetings, so I like them to see firsthand, hands-on. I've taken kids to come buy houses with me. I take them to business meetings, so they really learn how life is, So they speak more words than I can even say because they're our example.
What's your mom's name? Kara? Ikara. Oh, I know who you are. Okay. Last thing I want to say is this. It can't be overstated. He's right. He's humble. But I do almost anything that I can to help him because he is 100% about kids. And when you see the kids and how good they feel about themselves and the diversity of learning activities that he engages in. I mean, he helped us sponsor a book study of the local author. He was in charge of that and took that and ran with it. They do a lot. They've done programming where kids come in and they learn not just about financing, but how to start their own business. I mean, there's just almost nothing that he will not do to deposit excellence into the kids of this community. And with that in mind, there's almost nothing won't do to try to help you. Keep up the good work. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Keith's
already got his
He's
check.
running with the check.
I didn't realize that there were 2 checks. I didn't even know that. So, hey, Parks and Rec. You want to take a picture? Yeah.
He said he was humble.
Come on, Stan Crab. You got his.
I'm gonna say this about Keith. Keith and I were rivals in high school, but now we're on the same team. And I always tell him this, but I am extremely proud of him and the work that he has done and that he does in this community. We're lucky to have you. I appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
So we're going to go ahead and move on to item number 7. Is citizen comments, and during this time, citizens have the opportunity to address the City Commission on any item on the consent agenda. My first speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is Thomas Russell.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. A couple of weeks ago, I remembered that we were supposed to get a settlement from opioids, and I didn't remember hearing what had happened with it. So I put a public request in to find out what happened, and I said, oh, it's still under litigation. And then on F, it says, oh, yeah, we got it back in 2022. So what is it? Either we're still doing it, or it's settled that we did get the money. So which is it? Secondly, the peer insurance, I don't understand. You don't get reimbursed if there's a hurricane and it's named. You don't get reimbursed if the waves cause damage to the pier. I mean, all the things that naturally would have a problem with the pier is not covered. It doesn't sound right. Either that or it's misprinted or I'm reading it wrong. But it doesn't make sense that something in the middle of the ocean is not covered for hurricane waves, et cetera, et cetera. The Main Street Arch, again, I mentioned the historic. I would like it to go back to its historic position. And then lastly, number T, Dickerson. How many months ago did we redo Dickerson? And now we have to do repairs? It seems a very short time between when we spent several $1 million on Dickerson and now we have to repair it. So that doesn't seem right. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Thomas Russell, and on deck is Frederick Brown.
Thomas Russell, referring to 630 North Beach Street, the real North Beach Street. Mr. Mayor mentioned one time he hated driving down that, it was so bumpy. It is part of a CRA that is totally neglected. Baloo Road got a fair share of CRA money. They even charged the CRA to fix a bridge, which I couldn't understand. I thought, well, that should be bridges and roads. But who am I to say? I really think that monies for this CRA are not being spent properly. And not only this CRA, the other CRAs. I can't understand how many employees you have in the CRAs when the payroll, just adding rough numbers up, the payroll on the CRAs is $868,000, including their amenities. That's damn near $1 million. How can you people just go ahead and blow $1 million? I mean, show everybody what you've got. If you, this program that you just talked about, they're great, but we don't even get to see that. You can't, unless you can really get into the programming and dig really deep, you can't find where the money goes. All right, I'm just telling you that. And as far as this Baloo Road CRA, I would like to be on that advisory board. I understand the mayor and the city manager on it. Direct that CRA, Baloo Road CRA, am I wrong? Yes. I'm wrong, okay. Well, who represents that CRA? That's my question.
The commission.
Who?
The commission represents the CRA.
All the people here set up the roles on how that money's spent? And they have meetings?
They do have.
Okay,
meetings.
I'm missing out on
An
that.
advisory board also.
Beg your pardon?
There's also an advisory board.
Okay, well, then I'll request that finance so I get to see what the money's being spent on. And the other side of the coin is $868,000 worth of payrolls. I mean, how can you spend that much money in 5 CRAs that are really poverty-stricken areas? And now, payroll and ancillary cost, I'll be very specific about it. It just amazes me. Unless maybe you're paying an employee for the city to do a job, and then when you pay him at $15, $20, $30 an hour, you add all these other expenses to what you paid him and charge it to the CRA. I learned that from a very deceiving person one time. Okay, that's all I got to say. I'm going to be on this constantly. I'm going to request all the information. I want to know where the money's spent. I want to see that it was spent for repairing a road, fixing a pothole. This doesn't fly. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Frederick Brown.
Okay. Frederick Brown, 1508 Christmas, Daytona Beach. And note, I do give my full address unless, like many people here, especially some of our partners that don't ever give their addresses and people that say United States, I do give my full address. The rules don't seem to apply to a lot of people. Among other things, consent agenda. Now, I don't need a crystal ball to tell you what the vote's going to be in a couple minutes. It's going to be motion passes 7-0. That's exactly how it's going to be pronounced. It seems that every time we have a consent agenda, there's a whole lot of stuff on it. We have given away city property on that. And right now, item A, we're doing automatic appointments without reviewing any of them. And I know it's up to staff to provide our commissioners and our mayor the proper information. And we get it somewhat down the road, not all the details. Now, I don't have a problem with the candidates that are in here, but I do think that part of the information you should receive when you're putting people up for a re-election to a board is what's their attendance. Because quite frankly, some of the other boards, I can tell you, some of the people on them aren't taking them real seriously. Take the Parks and Rec Board. My representative's absent, late, many times, but she's still on there. So I don't know their attendance record. I'd like to see that. To me, the boards in Daytona Beach are very, very important. I've served on one, and I was there at all the meetings. Even though when I was an alternate, I was still there because it was important city business. So I think it's very important that you look carefully at your candidates, don't just blow them through 7-0. Some of the other issues I'd like to talk about, on the bond issue on 8D, our fire chief did a really great job of getting some bonds. I went through all those accounting sheets and I didn't see it in there anywhere. It was based on old data. So I'm still kind of sketchy on what's happening there. And I will say this, when citizens ask questions of staff who are in the next room and can hear everything I'm saying, and I've asked questions of this commission and of the staff many times, I usually just get a blank stare. I never get an answer, unless I come up here and beg for money. Then all of a sudden everybody has questions like, what's your group about, da-da-da. But if I'm asking about serious business of the city, I never get answers. And then follow up with the last speaker, the Ballou Road, which got amalgamated in with Midtown. And he's absolutely right. That money's just being transferred. It's not being spent on anything. That area needs some serious money spent on it. But it's all been transferred, and when I've looked at it, all the money gets eat up in administrative costs. That's not right. Also, your insurance, 8K and L, that's a lot of money. Looks to me like Brown & Brown is going to get all their money back on the park that they acquired from us, the Esplanade. I had some other things to add, but my time has expired. Thank you.
That was our final speaker for the consent agenda.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? We have a motion, Commissioner May,
Second.
We have a second, Commissioner Reed. Do we have any questions or comments?
Yes, I'm okay with the consent agenda, except for item 8E.
She what? Based on the,
Pull it? Okay.
okay, we'll
Take
pull
this
it.
at the end of consent.
All right, do we have any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of this, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. So we're going to move on to item 8E, which was pulled for discussion, is the Finance Department Budget Office Midtown CRA note. This is a resolution. A resolution amending the fiscal year 23-24 budget to increase revenues and expenditures and providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner May and a second by Commissioner Reed. All right, we have the speakers.
I have no speakers on this item, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Any comment from the commission? Okay, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-1.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if Mr. Russell will provide his email address to the clerk's office, we will send to him the capital projects list for Blue Road.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to move on to item number 9, which is our public hearings and quasi-judicial hearings. Item 9A is the Finance Department Budget Division Fiscal Year 24-25, Property Taxes and Budget for the City of Daytona Beach. Item number 1 is the public hearing, and members of the general public may speak on the proposed millage rate and fiscal year budget. Our only speaker is John Nicholson.
Oh, the weather's bad out there.
Is it an Amber Alert?
John, you did sign up for 9A for the budget? Okay.
Okay.
You don't know anymore.
I know or I've mentioned it for years, since we got hit with a 27% tax increase. But Asher kept roll back, until the point where we had no money left in the city and we had to have a tax increase. We couldn't afford police cars. We couldn't, it was really, really bad. So I generally trust Mr. Fietcher. However, there's a little bit in the back of my mind that says, I don't know where he's getting all this money from. Either Chisholm was a penny pincher and he never spent any money, but we're getting things fixed all over town. We're getting parks, roads, sidewalks, and I'm just sort of kind of nervous that we might end up in the same position that we ended up years ago, and I don't want a 27% tax increase. So I'm presuming he knows what he's doing, and I'm, knock on wood, with all the development out west, the money is coming in to cover all of this. But just in case, I'm asking you guys to be vigilant, more so than I, that we're not overextending ourselves and spending ourselves into debt. Thank you.
Good report.
And that was my only speaker for the 9A.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
No, I'm going to move on to item number 2, which is the resolution.
Second part of the same one.
A resolution determining the amount and fixing the rate of taxation and making the annual property ad valorem levy in the amount of $5.9300 per $1,000 of non-exempt assessed value for general fund operations of the City of Daytona Beach for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, which represents a 16.93% tax rate increase from the rollback rate of 5.0712 and the voted debt service millage of 0.1574 and providing an effective date.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Come on, Fred.
Yes.
I know, no one wants to listen to me. By law, I do have to say what the difference is in what we do with the difference in revenue between the rollback rate and what we're actually charging. And this is straight from the budget book and the budget message. The difference between the rollback rate and the proposed millage rate is a difference in revenue of $7,754,293. This pays for, it doesn't actually pay for all of it. First, by law, a piece of it, the CRA money, goes to the CRAs. And because it's the millage goes up, the CRA revenue goes up, that money comes from the general fund. $3,695,990 is the difference in public safety salaries between last year's adopted budget and this year's adopted budget. Finally, this year, the coming year, we've added a debt service payment of about $3.5 million. If you add the three things I've added up, that is more than the difference between the rollback rate revenues and the current and the proposed revenues. And I have to say this by law. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Question?
I'm just curious, is anyone uncomfortable with the budget the way it's been proposed?
I am.
Can we offer some sort of solution as what to do? Because fiscally speaking,
That's why we have a city manager that we pay almost $25,000 a month.
so are you saying that no solution was
You know, I
provided?
asked for everybody's pay in the city of Daytona Beach, and I thought it was really sad looking at some of these pays. Our police and firemen that are in harm's way, some of them are working 56 hours a week just to make a little bit over $50,000 a year. And some of this pay doesn't even make any sense to me. But that's my personal opinion, and I will not, and we talk about affordable housing all the time, but we're gonna raise the property tax again? I can't do it.
Is there any solution to that we could come to some sort of agreement on where we need to be at?
In regards to, I don't know what you're asking.
We're not all in agreement with the budget, and we have one person that's also not here. So I'd just like to know if there's any other options of where we could go to compromise, like our millage rate.
I think with what Fred just explained, there is no compromise. We've got a debt service. We don't have enough in the account now to pay the police and the fire. And there are things that we all are asking for that haven't been in the budget that have to be accounted for as well. We want the park, the Rhinos Park. We want some of the other things that we've been asking for. I can't think off the top of my head, but they have to be paid for, and they were never in the budget before.
Mr. Manager, is there anything that we could hold off until next year?
Well, you can hold off on hiring the new 5 police officers and the code enforcement officer and the fire officer.
We could hold off on hiring the auditor, because we've never had that in the budget before. That's something else we're asking for that's not in our budget.
I don't
I think that goes through the
know
charter,
that we
though,
can
right?
do that because we said the charter. We approved that in lieu of the
No,
charter.
it says May still.
It still says May,
It says May,
not shall.
yeah.
And
Well, I
also,
don't think you should do that if you were gonna, not allow the charter folks to take that before the voters. And you did that with the expressed opinion that you were gonna hire that person, basically taking it out of their hands. So that's just my opinion, yes.
Drew Driscoll, Deputy City Manager and Fire Chief. So understanding a couple of things. This budget process has been months-long process, countless hours of meetings, feedback from the city commission and your direction on establishing this budget that's being proposed this evening. As we heard from Fred and previously at the budget presentation, we think about, well, where's all the revenue from the new construction and the increased property values? That was about $5 million. If you recall from that presentation, we have $3 million in employee raises, $1.3 million in pension increases, and $1 million in insurance increases, which the city has taken on board. So there's that $5 million. We presented the idea of going above a flat rate to 5.93 as presented to you this evening, and that captures, after the CRA deduction, that captures about $4 million. As we also just heard and previously approved by the commission, $3.5 million for the debt service for Jackie Robinson and Fire Station Number 1. That leaves us with $500,000. That's less than 1% of our total ad valorem revenues. We know inflation on average was about 3%. So already that statement alone, we are going to be doing a little bit less or purchasing a little bit less next year than the current year. If I bought 20 sets of bunker gear last year at $80,000, I might be able to afford 19 sets. That's just the reality we all live in. Your budget committee, under the manager's direction, put together what we found to be a thoughtful budget. When we get new item requests, I'll say it's a needs-based budget. We received millions and millions of dollars of requests from the various departments to tackle some of the product or some of the projects that this commission has mentioned. Not all of them made a cut. In fact, majority of them did not make the cut. But that's just our reality we live in. But we have to be responsible and prospectively plan and forecast for these expenditures. And I believe this budget does that. When it comes to personnel, if we were including the auditor, we're about $860,000 for those police officers, firefighters, code officers, one street sweeper, and the auditor. That's an opportunity to look if there was a reduction. When we look at options, so option that you mentioned is reducing the millage rate. What that does this evening, and I'll ask legal a question in a moment to clarify. Normally what we do is Fred, Natalia, myself, we'd go back to the office, and for the next couple hours, we have to rebalance the budget because we have to vote on it this evening. It's not just deducting the revenue and reducing the amount of expenditures. You have to rebalance every category because, let's say, human resources, that's funded through the fire department to fund theirs. So all the allocations for the interfund departments, we have to rebalance. We'll do that. You know why? Because we work for you. We'll do it all night long. My question to legal is, if there was a desire to change the millage rate, is there an opportunity to reduce the millage rate in the resolution and adopt the budget as is and come back with a budget amendment in 2 weeks?
I mean, I think the obligation of the budget is that it includes the anticipated revenues from taxes. So if at the time that budget is adopted, the taxes have been lowered from what was originally presented, then that budget needs to be amended before it's adopted.
So that's for the millage rate. So if we wanted to reduce the millage rate, we'll go back to the office and begin trying to recalculate the budget. If it's a matter of the allocation of where the funds are spent, you could pass tonight's budget, and let's say we wanted to fund this project or reallocate more money for senior oasis, something along those lines. We could do that after October 1st all day long. We do it almost every meeting. So if that's the desire for reallocation, we could do that. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that the critical point is that capital projects that are in the budget now are not approved unless they're brought back to the elected body. So if there's a decision that's made, if there is $3 million in the budget for capital projects, and the decision is made when it comes back to not spend those funds are not spent. Those major capital projects still have to come back to you all for approval.
And so, again, we could reallocate because it still takes your approval, as Mr. Facher said. Your staff, myself included, are citizens also. So we understand inflation. We understand the struggles of the community. We don't ask easily. It's not easy to come forward asking for an increase in millage rate. But so we live those lives also. Yes, I am compensated well for the city, so I appreciate that that impact's not as much towards me perhaps as some of our other citizens, and I respect that. But we will do as you direct, and we're here to answer any questions and make sure that all of our citizens have the transparency they deserve.
I look at this, you know, people say we should run the city like a business. Compare what we're doing here to our daily trips, weekly trips, or whatever, to the grocery store, to Walmart. The last 3 years, my trips to those places have got far more expensive. But I still like those items that I buy there, so I pay that expense. Since our new city manager has come on, Mr. Fiacher, we have paved streets, we have improved lighting, we have done lots of things here. We have improved the parks. We have increased the number of policemen we have at the police department and still need a few more. So if we want to continue to eat the same things and buy the same things that we need at Walmart, we pay the price. And if we want to continue to get our streets paved, fix our parks, and keep our city looking better and better every day, we're going to have to pay the price. And don't get me wrong, I am not a tax and spend guy. My fiance says I am cheap, you know, all the time. You're cheap. Well, I am cheap. And I think we should be cheap with this, as cheap as we can. But if people want to continue with the same level of services they've been receiving, we got to do this.
Could you give me a number as to what this represents on the taxes as an increase? Is it a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 per month increase? Give me a tangible number. I know it's based on your property, but can you give me an estimate of what this represents?
I could. And I'd encourage everyone's more than welcome to look up Drew Driscoll on the Volusia County Property Appraiser site, and you could enjoy my taxes alongside me. Drew Driscoll's tax increase for my home, for what that's worth, it's $123.35 a year. That's $10.27 a month, or $2.37 a week. We've previously looked at a concerned citizen that sent us all an email, and I provided a memo to the manager's office of what their increase is. Their increase of city tax, the difference, was $92.58. Their total tax bill, again, your tax bill is not just the city of Daytona Beach, it's Volusia County, it's Florida Inland Navigation, Halifax Hospital School Board, the list goes on. Their total tax bill increase was 5.21%. In this one scenario, they also live in a CDD, which went up 40%. We don't control that, so we can't address their 40% increase that their homeowners placed on them, but we do participate in that $92 increase.
So for you and your property, it represented $114 a year.
123, yes, ma'am.
And per week it was, I'm sorry?
Per week, $10.27.
For the extra services?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And
Extra service.
Yeah.
Just
Right. How much would it go up?
that was the increase,
That's what I thought. That was the increase.
$10.27 a month. And for that,
A week?
The $10.27 was a month.
Oh, a month?
Yeah,
So-
that's my
So
tax
that's your
increase.
projected increase, which would cover all the additional things that we're looking to accomplish in the city, correct?
Yes, which coincidentally is less than my cell phone bill. I don't choose to paint a doomsday scenario for anyone here. I'm not looking to be the martyr up at this lectern with my community at my back. I think it's just important to provide the truthfulness. And again, we work for the city manager who works for you, and we will do as you wish.
Mr. Mayor, I call for the vote.
Okay. I would defer for further deliberation if there are any other comments before the vote.
May I, Mayor?
Yeah.
Thank you, Drew. For something like this, I would like all of us to be on the same page. So I did look through the entire budget also to see like where we could do something. And I know that if you're uncomfortable with it, if there's something that you could suggest, maybe that we could change on it.
We first can start with some of these pay raises that I think is ridiculous, because some of these people, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm just, like, for instance, he's making almost $25,000 a month. He just had a raise, he's getting ready to have another raise. I'm sorry.
Well,
That's
I would.
that's my opinion. You can have your own opinion.
No, it's not an opinion. I want to share something with you. He has agreed to forego his COLA for this year. And he sent me an email. We had a conversation about this prior to this. So he agreed to do this before this meeting, after a conversation with me. So I'm not,
I'm
it's not
happy
about
to
my
hear
opinion.
that.
I just wanted to share that.
I mean, because insurance has went up, and then we're getting ready to raise property taxes again. And I'm not doing it. And I know there's money, I mean, he blames us for the millage rate because I've already talked to him about it. He said, well, you're the ones that sets it. No, you're the one that brought it to us to set. I'm sure there's money in here we can find. Looking at all these pay raises and all this, yeah, there is some that deserve it. I mean, I'm looking at police officers that are working 56 hours a week just to make $50,000, when we got some officials making $170,000 to $200,000 a year, and quite a bit. And then we'll get ready to do a pay raise and another pay raise? No, and we got people, residents struggling here? No, I can't accept this.
Okay.
I just want to. I don't recall saying that the commissioners decided that there were options that were brought forward in reference to the millage, and you all made a decision on that. Secondly, the pay raises are part of negotiations that have taken place prior to my even arrival here for all city employees that are going through the process with our union negotiations. And so that's how the pay raises are coming forward, based off of things that the elected officials wanted to do to be the highest paid public employees in the area. And so that is how that process went forward.
I understand the union, Mr. Fiacher. I understand that we're giving the raises across the board, and we just did, and we're giving another one, a couple months later, another 2%. So, and I'm not saying some of our employees definitely need it and deserve it, but.
Is this not the last year for the 2 raises per year?
I believe so.
So this is the last time we'll see that. And Commissioner Cantu, I don't know how we could go back and take money from folks. I know what you're saying. But how do we determine who does and doesn't get, and who's making too much money?
I just think there's a lot of money in that budget that we can find room to reduce that millage rate.
I'm not going to disagree with your assessment that some of the folks on the high end of City Hall don't make a good amount of money, because they make more money than and I compare and contrast their salaries with other
We have people.
agencies and other institutions, and I feel that is the case. Now, we were the first to mandate $15 an hour salary for our staff. So we deliberately tried to raise income of folks who are on the lower end, and I would still encourage that. We have raised the salaries of fire and police to be the most competitive in Volusia County. Now, if they're working 50 and 60 hours, they should be
56 hours to
they
make
should be
$50,000.
well above 50,000, because that's basically about our baseline. So they should be well above that if they're working 10, 15 hours of overtime a week.
Yeah, they're having to work around 56 hours to make about 52,000. That's even our fire department.
Okay, I don't
I
know
have
that. Mr. Driscoll?
In a certain, don't even, I can set and call names right now if you want.
I don't think we have.
Oh, I'm not challenging anyone. But after 25 years with the fire department, I have some understanding of the fire department's work schedule. The fire department is on a 56 hour work schedule. It is not comparative to the 40. There's a factor that goes into play that addresses what their hourly rate is. When they're negotiating with Jim Sexton, they're negotiating based on annual salary, and that is equated to the 56-hour work week. So it's not that they're working overtime. There is 3 hours of overtime, automatic overtime in the fire department schedule, and I recall 2 hours in the police department, could be 1. They're on a 49 or 42-hour work week.
They do work overtime. to
Yeah,
make
that's the
more money.
automatic
Yeah.
tri-weekly Garcia money. Yeah.
Okay. I know a little bit about the police thing, and I do know they work overtime, so they can.
Oh, yeah, they work, yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely work. No one said that. The fire department
And
is
I'm
on a
just saying,
56-hour set work schedule.
I'm looking at some of these pays in here. I mean, we have someone that's making $300,000 a year. That is more than what our governor makes, that is more what our county manager makes, and that is more than any manager in the state of Florida. That is more than the governor of New York makes. And I can go on with some other employees around here too that were hired recently. So I'm just saying, and then we got employees that are struggling to make $15 an hour. So I do think there should be some raises in there, but I think someone needs to go back in that budget and figure out where we can cut the millage rate and still give the employees that deserve to be paid more money. That actually set out there and do hard work, even some of our utility guys. I'm looking at their pay.
I don't want staff to be in contention with the commission. If there's something that we wish to cut out of the budget, and we have to make a decision if there's something that we want to cut out. You know, I recommend that we cut out the new police department and those new staff persons. That's what I would recommend. And
I mean, I'm willing, even though I bought 2 pieces of property for my ARPA funds for Reynos Park, I'm willing to cut out the park this year. I mean, just so we don't have to put this on our residents. I mean, right now, our residents are struggling. We sit up here, look like hypocrites, saying, oh, we need to do something with affordable housing and everything, but we're gonna go ahead and raise your property taxes. I can't do that.
well, I understand that, and that, you know, I'm not in favor of that personally, because we've been waiting and there's no park in that region for, you have to go 5 miles to get to a park. It's public. And I don't think that's fair to the people who live out there. Commissioner?
If we need to find something to cut, I don't think that police and fire is the place to do it. I have to disagree with you on that. We've just now gotten to a point where we have the proper number of police and fire close to it. And to stop now makes no sense, and there's got to be some way if we're going to cut. I presented my case. Everything's gone up. Everything's going to keep going up, and you're either going to have to quit eating at home if you go to Publix, or you're going to have to buy what's there. And we're in the same situation with the city. If we're going to keep growing and keep doing what we're doing, we're going to have to keep paying the bill when we get to the cash register.
The proposal there is to cut the new staff persons, not the old staff persons. And remember, it's the police and fire that's costing us, police, $3.5 million this year in this budget. So you know, if they can.
No.
No, I'm sorry. Which one is the police? With the police ratings, 1.3, and the debt service is 3. Okay.
We don't
And
have
Drew, have you heard from your grant yet for the
Wait,
14?
let me call on you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
we actually, those positions are hired based off putting them in the budget. Like if you all say that keep the money set aside, but don't hire, we don't hire. But if we take it out of the budget, it's just another component of budget, but we don't have the idea of what brings down that millage rate. Many of these positions are capital
It's
projects.
hard to bring down the millage rate. Well, if you're hiring 5 people, you know you can cut $500,000 out the budget. And if he can go back and figure that out, what it would be to take $500,000 out of the budget, that would be a fair number. But I mean, is there anything else? I came in here prepared to vote for this, knowing that I've voted on rollback and voted over 12 years, knowing where we are and how much the debt service is. I came in here prepared to vote for this. But if, I'm trying to make a way to cut something off of it, since it is a sizable amount. And while $100 doesn't seem like much, I want to share something with you all. I work for the school system, and the school system, not the school system, but the federal government, I guess through the SNAPS program, has made it such that since COVID, and I think into perpetuity, essentially school lunches are free. And I just want to, I often share this with my wife, even in our household. The school lunch being free means something.
Somebody pay for it.
It means something to the bottom line of what happens in our house. Because both of my children, when they weren't, we paid $2 a day for each one of them. $2 a day is $4 a day. $4 a day is $20 a week. And when you get to the total of the school year, it's almost $800. $800 is a lot of different things that you can do for children that you can't ordinarily do. So $800 means something to me. I'm sure $116 means something to someone else. So I understand the budgeting concern, and I don't want to speak in a manner that comes across as cavalier about the amount, because $116 is one, as you said, is maybe one cell phone bill. Okay, so, I've given my proposal. If not, I'm prepared to, we don't have anything else, I'm prepared to vote one way or the other. Now, if there's an agreement that you want to cut those positions, we can agree to that. If you disagree to that, fine. I don't recall the police chief or anyone saying they had to have those people. Now, I don't recall them saying that. I recall myself being the person who brought that in here about the police. So I don't recall anyone saying that this was just a year. We got to have the 4 or 5 this year. I was the person who brought that up. Yes.
Just for context, if you're looking to reduce $500,000, that is a millage rate decrease of approximately 0.05, just for knowledge purposes.
It's in that ballpark.
Okay,
This is
fine.
back of the envelope
That's
calculation.
fine. Do we have any other comments?
Any comments on the budget?
Is there anyone who's opposed to that particular recommendation that I've made, other than Commissioner Strickland? Commissioner Mays?
I'm with Commissioner Strickland.
Oh, okay. She's with Commissioner Strickland, they don't want us to cut it. Yes. I was looking to cut the new positions that we offered. I think it was 5 police, 1 code, 1 fire.
Probably other positions that we keep hiring.
Keep
He doesn't care about it. Say, chief's in the room. Who? Okay. Yeah. Commissioner? Oh, I don't know. Maybe he wants to hear from you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Chief Chikari Young. So if it needs to be put on record, I absolutely need those positions. We are a rapidly growing city. I think we are one of the fastest growing cities in the state of Florida, and especially with the amount of guests and visitors we host every year and the amount of events, I need all of them, yes. So right now my staffing we're somewhere around 230. Full staffing right now is 244. I originally wanted 6 to at least get me to 250 and then continue to build from there. So I think I actually need more than that, but I'm trying to be realistic because I see what we're discussing and I see the position that we're in right now. But Every time I grid this city, I'm noticing more development, which means more calls for service, more residents. We're already seeing what's happening as far as calls for service with all the new growth in this city. So I definitely need, if it needs to be put on record, I definitely need those 5 positions if that's what I'm able to get out of this. So if y'all would keep that in consideration, I'd appreciate that.
But you're operating right now at how many people are you operating at?
I'm operating, so I hear what you're saying, so I'm operating with less than that now.
Less than, what are you operating it with now?
About
230?
approximately 230 right now.
And if we gave you 5 positions, what would you be operating with?
240.
I mean, no, what would you be budgeted at? Pardon me. What would you be budgeted at?
For full, you mean full staffing?
If we gave you 5 more and you were fully staffed, what would you be?
249.
So basically, you're operating at 19 less. I'm fine with putting it in there and not expending it if he doesn't have the money. Just leave, doesn't need it. Get it, you're not at 240 to me, so it's not, you're not close to 245.
The other thing that, for whatever reason, has not been discussed is like, I have like a 30-page breathing document, like a full-blown strategic plan. And I will be willing to present that plan to fully lay out what I'm planning to do with these additional resources. Like, I have a vision. I have a full-blown vision that is in line with the city as far as making this one of the most desirable places to live, work, and play. I've identified my role in that as far as public safety. And this is something I'm very passionate about, and I would be willing to give that full-blown presentation if need be, because this is something that's near and dear to me, and I think everybody on this dais would be in agreement if I was able to fully roll this plan out, to fully, articulate what I'm planning on doing with all of my resources, because it's bigger than just the growth. I'm trying to focus on some of the problem areas that have been in existence since I've been a police officer with the city of Daytona Beach, because it's bigger than just the new growth. We have areas here, like we're getting ready to plan a meeting. We're talking about having a meeting with residents that continue to see foot traffic and the narcotic sales and the prostitution, so on and so forth. I'm developing a plan, but I'm going to need the staff in order for it to be effective and in order for it to work. So somebody said it earlier, I think Commissioner Strickland said it. If we got to cut somewhere, obviously as a police chief, I'm just adamantly opposed to cutting anything from public safety.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that still doesn't mean we don't have to cut it, but it's up to you all. I'm giving you a suggestion to get the $500,000 to cut some of the.
I would like to see us to vote on it the way it is right now and see how it comes out.
All right.
I have a question, Drew. Have you received that grant yesterday, yet for the 14 firefighters?
No, ma'am. The City of Daytona Beach has put in for a SAFER grant with the federal government for 12 firefighters. And with the assistance of Commissioner Cantu, we've had some legislative support to help increase our chances that pays for firefighters for 3 years. So.
Okay.
And it would come back before this commission for approval or acceptance.
So in the budget, we have on this budget for 2 more firefighters. So what happens if you do get that grant?
Yeah, so with the 3 firefighters that are in the current budget, we wouldn't need those. The 12 is don't get me wrong, I'm going to do a Jakari for a minute. I too have a strategic plan that shows I'm 18 down. Where is he at? Come up here, brother. Not to make light of things, but I too have a strategic plan. The fire department hasn't always had all its resources required, but we would propose the 12 because we have to work in certain numbers of people. That the 12 would be fine, and the 3, that money could potentially redeploy as necessary.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
right.
And I'm in agreement as well. I do not want to see the police or firefighters budget cut. Mr. Feature, is there anything else that we can cut to bring down that millage rate for our residents?
I don't think there is anything.
And if we get that grant, then we wouldn't have to spend those monies.
That would be only for 2 firefighters.
And for 3 years.
Yeah, but it'd be 2.
Would that be 2 less?
But still, the property taxes were already set.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. We'll take a roll call vote at this time.
Commissioner Cantu?
No.
Commissioner Henry?
For the budget.
For the millage rate, yep.
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Paris?
No.
Commissioner Strickland?
Yes.
Commissioner May? Mayor Derrick L. Henry?
No. Motion carries 4-3.
So we're going to move on to the Resolution 9A3. This is a resolution adopting the budget for fiscal year October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025 for the city of Daytona Beach, prescribing the net sources of revenue in an estimated amount of $392,298,386, setting forth expenditures and transfers in the amount of $392,298,386, of which operating expenditures total $300,943,833, transfers $66,503,740, and capital expenditures $24,850,813, and providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Motion comes from Commissioner May, second comes from Commissioner Reed. Do we have any speakers or any questions or comments?
No
All right.
speakers.
No speakers? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
No.
Okay, motion carries 5-2.
Okay, so now we're going to adjourn for the DDA.
Okay, we'll adjourn now for the DEA. DDA, I'm sorry, DEA. Department of Environmental.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Downtown Development Authority. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner May?
Here.
Cheryl Cook? Doug Martin?
Here.
Michael Schnapps-Tyler?
Here. Okay, we have 3 of our 4 members. We have a quorum. I guess we can start with Mr. Thomas' presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Ken Thomas with the Redevelopment and Neighborhood Services Department. The DDA is projected to receive revenues in the amount of $391,799 in Avalon tax revenue based on a 1 mil tax rate, which was recommended by the DDA during their August meeting. which is a 0.94% tax increase from the rollback rate of 0.9907. The total budget for this year is $391,799, including $147,291 in payments to the downtown CRA, which is returned to the DDA by an agreement. The budget includes $182,417 for marketing, promoting, and special events for the downtown area, and $15,000 for the Esplanade Market. No funds are proposed to be allocated from the DDA's unreserved balance. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Thomas?
More like a statement. I think that the DDA has done really well, and I think that the members of the CRA who help with the DDA down there, Ms. Fuqua, and Mr. Thomas have done a really good job, as well with the people we have working on all of our events. We've expanded the events. We have 2 a month. They're all year round, and it's very exciting, and they continue to grow. So I think that we're doing a really worthwhile job for the downtown DDA, so thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, so do we have any speakers?
I have no speakers, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you. And so we have 2 resolutions tonight, so we can start with the first.
Is a resolution determining the amount and fixing the rate of taxation and making the annual property ad valorem levy in the amount of $1.0000 per $1,000 of non-exempt assessed value for general fund operations of the Daytona Beach Downtown Development Authority for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, increasing property taxes by 0.94% from the rolled back millage rate of 0.9907 and providing an effective date.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Go ahead and call to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion carries 3-0. Now we can move forward with the second resolution.
It's a resolution adopting the budget for fiscal year October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025 for the Daytona Beach Downtown Development Authority, prescribing the net sources of revenue in an estimated amount of $391,799, setting forth expenditures in the amount of $391,799, and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 3-0. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
You can't, didn't he move quick? He moved quick. I saw you.
Can you play
Turned around like
basketball?
he was going to tackle somebody. No, he heard that gavel. He heard that gavel. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We reconvene our meeting at this time.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 9C, which is the Growth Management Planning Department, 530 Beach Street, Small Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance adopting a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment in accordance with Section 163.3187 Florida statutes, amending the future land use map designation of 1.34 plus or minus acres of property located at 530 North Beach Street and on the northwest corner of North Beach Street and Arlington Avenue from Level 2 residential, L2R, to retail, so that the future land use designation is consistent with the current use of the property and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Parrish and a second from Commissioner Cantu.
Okay, and I do have the applicant here for any questions.
Okay. No question? All right, we got a motion and a second. Do we have any additional questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, now move on to item 9D. It is the Growth Management Planning Department, Daytona Beach Convention Hotel and Condominiums, Fourth Amendment. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance approving the Fourth Amendment to the Daytona Beach Convention Hotel and Condominiums Planned Commercial District Agreement to allow for development of a sub-phase within Phase 3 of the development comprised of potential retail, parking, and event space, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the Fourth Amendment, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Parrish and a second from Commissioner Reed.
And I do have Rob Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
All right. No questions for Mr. Merrill. All right, a motion and a second are on the floor. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign for those in opposition. Motion carries 7-0.
We're going to move on to item 9E. This is the Growth Management Planning Department, Kingston Small Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment. This is an ordinance on second reading, public hearing. An ordinance adopting a small scale comprehensive plan amendment in accordance with Section 163.3187 Florida statutes, amending the future land use map designation of 0.25 plus or minus acres of property generally located at the southeast corner of Kingston Avenue and Seagrave Street from office transition to local service industry, amending the future land use element neighborhood D development policy to limit uses and to reduce any potential negative impacts to the nearby residential area, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
So move.
We have a motion and a second.
I have no speakers for this item, Mr.
No
Mayor.
speakers. Do we have any questions, Commission? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Moving on to item 9F, it's the Growth Management Planning, Kingston Local Industry Rezoning. This is an ordinance on second reading, quasi-judicial hearing, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the Land Development Code to rezone 0.25 plus or minus acres of property generally located at the southeast corner of Kingston Avenue and Seagrave Street from residential professional to local industry, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Second.
All right, we'll take a motion from Commissioner May and a second from Commissioner Strickland. Do we have any questions or comments?
And I have no speakers for this item, Mr. Mayor.
All right. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Going to move on to item 9G. It's a Growth Management Planning Department, Midtown Plaza, Plan Development, Redevelopment. This is an ordinance on second reading, quasi-judicial hearing. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the Land Development Code to rezone 0.27 plus or minus acres of property 536, 538, 540, 542, and 544 Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard from redevelopment Midtown Neighborhood Center mixed use to plan development redevelopment, approving the Midtown Plaza Plan District Agreement to allow for additional uses and all associated site improvements subject to certain conditions, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the agreement, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Second.
All right, we'll take a motion from Commissioner May and a second from Commissioner Reed.
I do have a speaker on this item, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Pierre Lewis. And then I do have Rob Merrill here on behalf of the applicant for any questions.
It's 130 South Franklin Street. Good evening to the mayor, commissioners, citizens of Daytona Beach. I don't know if you've ever been at that intersection by where Checkers is at, is ISB. There's an intersection right there where you can go down towards Martin Luther King, or you can go towards Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. You stand there sometimes, you'll see the traffic go by really, really fast because they have no reason to go left or go right. Now with the opening of the Midtown Cafe, I noticed that the cars slow down just a little bit because of what they brought to the area that's there. They brought an area where it's got to be a destination. Well, sometimes when you get at the intersection, you can turn down there and you can actually say, you know what? I think I'm going to go to the Midtown Cafe because they brought such improvement, commercial development in the Midtown area. The other thing I like to mention that you won't see on this particular piece of paper that's here. Sometimes when an event happens there, they have a son that comes up from Miami, a daughter that comes from New York, another daughter that was working on her, I think it was her nursing at Kaiser. Why do I mention that? Because they not only bring just commercial development. Since I've been there, what I see is they bring a family kind of unit that's there. They could have easily decided to put their business probably in a number of different areas. But Sydney and Karen, they decided to put their business right there in Midtown. You can see the big mural that's there. They got a little 12-year-old grandson that you talk to all the time. He's probably smarter than anybody in the room. Either way, what I'm saying is that their contributions to Midtown fits directly in line with that PMG study. The PMG of commercial development talks about strategic planning in the Midtown area, talks about improvements that's there. I looked at that, and I looked at the number of uses that are here. It falls right in line exactly with that. So whoever decided to expand on the commercial development and the new uses that are going to be there, if I had to put a vote for that, I would put a vote to support that. Because as I mentioned before, it's kind of a family environment that's there. That mural, so they decided not to just say that I'm going to just be here and bring some capital development in the area. They decided that they wanted to be intertwined with what Midtown needs. And Midtown, as much as we need property development and taxes and stuff like that, it's been brought to my attention, what we really need is a lot more commercial development. And here is a family and a group that has decided to make Midtown their home and to raise the taxes up in the area. That's why I would vote in support of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I did have one other individual sign up to speak on this item, Mr. Steve Miller.
Steve Miller, 383 Walnut Street. And on the corner of Walnut Street and Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard is the Midtown Cafe. And I think it's one of the anchors of our community. In fact, believe it or not, there's about 3 additional businesses have just gotten started in the Midtown area. And I know that Midtown has been an issue for us, and I think for Mr. Frietcher, that was one of the things that we wanted him to make sure that we was able to develop businesses along that corridor. I'm thrilled to have them as a neighbor. It is truly an asset to our community, and in fact, they got the entire Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard looking a lot better. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
And I'm in favor.
Okay, I have no other speakers, and I have Mr. Merrill here for any questions or comments from the commission.
All right, we have a motion and a second. If there are no questions, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, sir.
All right, we have no introduction of ordinances tonight, so we're going to move on to item number 11, which is our administrative items. Item 11A is the City Attorney's Office, City's Residential Rental License Program, Chapter 26, Article 6 of the City Code. This is a resolution providing notice of intent to repeal Article 6 of Chapter 26 of the Daytona Beach City Code, establishing a licensing program for rental of residential units and providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion, Commissioner Mays, second from Commissioner Reed.
And I have no speakers for this item, Mr. Mayor.
No speakers, no questions? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, that was our final agenda item.
All right, we start tonight with Commissioner Cantu.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll make it short. I'm trying to figure out where we are with the permit and licensing money that was supposed to be spent by October 1st. Are you bringing something back for a new building, or how are we spending this money?
First and foremost, there is not a requirement that the money has to be spent by October 1st. In my report, we will be bringing back recommendations for the P&L funds at our first meeting in October that will identify particular buildings that you all can look at to see how you want to purchase, and also the additional expenditures of it.
And what was that date you said?
The first meeting in October.
Okay. My next question is, at the workshop, you did say there was a deadline October 1st.
There's no deadline that we have to have the money expended by October 1st.
I hear what you're saying now, but at the workshop, if you go back and listen to the minutes, you did actually say that.
Okay.
And that's why I'm just curious, why it hasn't changed now than since the workshop. I can read it to you if you like.
It's not going to
Okay.
change that.
Right,
It
I'm
does not
just,
have to be
but can
expended.
you tell me why the workshop, you told us October 1st, and now there's not a deadline? I'm just curious.
I don't recall saying that.
You don't, okay. I'm not gonna get in a tiff with you, but you did say it, and
Okay. Well,
and I could read it. Okay, so we have no deadline to spend this money now.
there is not a deadline for us to spend the money by October 1st.
Okay,
Is there a deadline, Attorney, based on that, on our report, that if we don't spend the money immediately? that we're
Okay,
gonna be-
this is exactly what you said. Let me just finish this before you answer that. 611 P&L. So we are now in a position where we need to identify a spending plan and move towards spending the excess funds. Talking with our CFO and budget officer earlier in the day, we have a fund balance of about 19.7 million that we have. The unspent amount that we need to spend by October 1st is right now about 11.4 million that they say we need to spend by October 4th. We are going to be contacting JLAC also to see if it's not about spending it, but allocating those funds for other things. So, Mr. Gross, when is the date we have to spend this money, please?
I want to pull up the statute, so
Okay.
give me just a second, please.
And while he's pulling that up, so, Mr. Feature, you said the second week of October?
No, I think it's the 2nd, but it's the first meeting in October is 2nd.
October 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a few properties you're bringing back? Is one of them included Beach Street?
Beach Street, yes, I think it's one of the properties that will be brought for discussion with the commission.
And do you think that's a good idea, that we have a discussion on Beach Street while there's an investigation going on with DEP still?
I think that we're going to bring back properties for the commissioners to decide if they want us to pursue those additional properties.
Okay, thank you.
I'm still.
It's okay. Take your time. I'm just curious, when do we have to spend this money? Because this audit's been going on for a while. And since he's looking that up, the money that we have spent already, what is 11.4 million? I would like to get some kind of chart of what we've already spent and how much, and I'm sure the rest of the commission would like to see that too, so we all can keep track of how much money we've been spending, to make sure we're spending that down.
Okay. What we'll do at this time is we'll move on to Commissioner Henry and then come back as our attorney finds, unless you have other comments.
I'm good.
Commissioner Henry?
Yeah, I don't have any comments tonight. I just have one, and that is that I love the new drip patrol. I think this is exactly the type of community policing we need in our community, and I just wanted to say well done to Chief and the crew for that. And if I can support it, if he needs support with it, I would be more than willing to support that. Thank you.
And I do want to say something. I do want to say thank you to Mr. Fiecher and to Mr. Gross for waiving the raise coming up for the residents.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep, I do want to acknowledge that Mr. Gross has also waived his COLA increase, as well as Mr. Fiecher. Commissioner Reed?
Are you not ready, Mr. Gross?
I'm sorry, I'm not.
All
I've
right.
written
Okay.
so many
Take your
emails on
time.
this that I'm trying to
That was
find the
just a
right.
yes or no, so I'll keep
Yeah.
going. All right, so I'd like to bring to the citizens' attention this Midtown Vision Board that we're doing. It's joining with the Housing Authority in the City of Daytona Beach. It's a day for family, food, and fun. It's when we're going to have a vision discussion for both youth and for adults in regards to the building designs, amenities, community resources, and neighborhood improvements for Caroline Village, Palmetto Park, Walnut, and Midtown community. So come out and have a voice in how those properties are being rebuilt. For the youth, the visionary activity, it's on September 24th, and youth is from 4:30 to 5:30. Also on September 24th, the adult visioning session is from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And I can't express enough to read the inserts in your water bills. A lot of this is announced there. I can't emphasize enough to go out on the website and to take advantage of the information we share there, as well as we have an app now that can give you notifications of what's happening in your city so that you can be abreast of what's going on. Just wanted to remind you also that building permits are going to be waived effective September 1 this year through March 1st of 2025. You about to add something?
No, I'm listening to you.
2025. And it's for residents as well as for commercial businesses, for interiors, new construction, interior renovations, roof replacements, electrical and fire suppression systems, upgrades, and new fences, doors, windows, driveways, and air conditioning. So please, please take advantage of the opportunities. Then we have boards, and I know that I'm missing a couple of board members. I would really love for someone to get on the Board of Adjustment for me. Unfortunately, my person succumbed, and I'd like to replace him. And then, well, both of them, because Pat Hurd was my beautification, and then my neighbor was my adjustment board. So I have two openings where I need your voice. You have an opportunity to participate in the advisement of this board by participating on those boards. Then I just want to bring to my colleagues' attention that it's Senior Oasis prom time, and for each of us who has a Senior Oasis in our area, if you would kindly help support putting that prom together, I would greatly appreciate it. I think the cost that staff has shown me is around $7,000 is what we spent last year, and I believe almost everyone that has a Oasis group contributed. It's nothing that's in the budget, it's just something that we have continued to do. I was also going to try to seek some sponsorship because the seniors really want it. And then I want to also advocate for supporting the Oasis programs. I've gotten 2 calls from the Dickerson's Oasis asking for funds. I haven't shared with them, I'm no longer their commissioner, but you know, they need additional funding for trips and for excursions and for things that the seniors would like to do. And I just hope when I'm a senior that these are there, so I have somewhere to go myself. So we got to continue to support this program, okay? And I think that completes my comments. I'm sorry? Thursday evening? That's tomorrow, September 19th? Okay.
Mr. Gross, if you would like to just bring that back at the next commission meeting so you can look at it more, because I know I sprung it on the last
That's okay,
minute.
I can talk.
You okay? Okay.
But do you want me to wait until the commissioner comments are over, Mayor?
No, you can go ahead and go back. If Commissioner Reed is done,
I believe so.
if not, we'll
The
come back.
19th, was that the community meeting? No, it was changed. Yeah, there was a conflict with staff for that, and then we couldn't do the 26th because the church is actually having a conference, and I'm giving greetings, show some good faith since we're using the facility. And so I guess we got to look at October. But I know you and Chief and I are both ready. We just need to get a date. So you're free.
Okay. Mr. Gross?
So, how far forward can you carry excess building and permit revenues? Depends first on the amount of the excess. If the amount of the excess is less than the average of the last 4 years' operating budget for that fund, you don't have a time limit for spending it. Once you have an excess fund balance, i.e., excess funds that exceed the average 4-year operating fund, the big restriction is that you're restricted as to how you can spend it. You can't normally. The restriction is you have to spend it on permit and building licensing stuff.
Correct.
But for this excess balance, your allowable uses are rebating or reducing building permit fees or paying for the construction of a new building or structure
And permit
that houses
licensing,
your
correct.
permits and licensing staff. Now, the only specific time frame that arises then is a provision that specifically says any portion of the excess balance, excess meaning the excess above the 4-year average operating fund, cannot be carried more than 4 years. There's an implicit limitation because at any time, if you're carrying that excess fund balance and you're not spending it the way that you're supposed to, any private person who's had to pay a permit fee can file a judicial action to make us comply with the requirements of the statute.
Okay.
If nobody does that, then proceed accordingly.
Okay, and our excess balance for the, over the 4 years that needs to be spent?
There's not a specific limitation on spending it other than for purposes of building construction, you cannot carry it forward for more than 4 years. So
And
technically,
but-
I think the structure of the statute is.
But we have.
You shouldn't have an excess fund
Right.
balance, but if you do, what is your situation?
And we
the
do-
situation that we're in is that as long as we have it, we have the risk that if somebody were to, again, file a suit in court to make us comply with the obligations, then a court could order us to expend those funds for those purposes.
So, in plain English, this is money that we need to be getting rid of.
Yeah, I
Correct.
I think we all recognize that.
Okay. Thank you.
Did I miss by what date we're supposed to get rid of it? Not get rid of it, but
The
allocate
statute-
it, use
The
it?
only specific date that the statute provides for the excess fund balance is that you can't carry it forward for purposes of building construction for more than 4 years. But the way the statute works is really, we're not really supposed to have an excess fund balance.
But we do.
And so if we have it, as long as we have it, until we've spent it in accordance with the statutes, we're at risk of somebody filing an action in court to make us spend that fund balance, which I think we're actually trying to do.
Or JLAC
Yeah.
coming back after.
And that is the other alternative.
We need to spend it.
Yeah.
In plain English.
If JLAC determines that we're not complying with a plan that is under review by them, they do have the ability to go to the Auditor General, and the Auditor General has the ability to tell state agencies to stop giving us our share of state revenue, such as sales tax, until we've complied. So that's also a risk.
And fine us.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
And they could fine us, correct?
The only thing that I found, Commissioner, is that we can be directed to, the state agencies that would distribute the tax revenues that come to cities, meaning sales tax mostly, would be directed to withhold those until we comply.
Okay.
I did look for a fine. I didn't see that in relation to this.
But
to be
does
honest.
that mean there's not?
I didn't find one.
Okay.
I can't say that there's not.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
What are our year-by-year operation expenses? And what's the excess?
Well, I wouldn't know that definitively. I think that the operating budget for this past year was somewhere in the neighborhood of $6.5 million.
That was in our workshop, I believe.
So now that we've suspended fees, we will not be adding to the excess until which time we reinstate them.
Well, not only won't you be adding to the excess, but you'll be spending down that excess to pay for the cost of operating the budget instead of paying that from the fees that you would normally collect.
So that'll be less money that we really need to get rid of if we spend out of that while we're
Right.
suspending
Right, and
the
this is,
fees.
this is
Okay.
what, yeah, this, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, how are you spending down those fees by waiving permits?
Well, because normally the only source.
Because we are stopping it from adding more to it, but waiving permits wouldn't bring it down.
Waiving the permit fees means there's no source of revenue coming in to pay the current cost of operating the department.
Okay,
So
I'm
instead,
I'm
that
gonna
excess
need to
fund
see
balance-
all that on paper. So make sure I get all that, please. I want to see how that's, and what we have spent to date as well, lined out. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Paris?
Well, we have that information before you have the meeting, before the meeting? Okay. I guess just to reiterate, board member recruitment, there is a file outside, and I just want to thank Anita Paloga for coming to all the neighborhood watch meetings and being out there, even at the chamber, trying to recruit people. So if anyone is interested, you could contact her at 386-671-8028 or Paloga, Pologa, Anita, ANITA at codb.us. Or you could go to our website also, which is our new website address is www.daytonabeach.gov. And the form also shows what days these boards meet, because I know a lot of people were asking about that. Another thing is that they're having an international coastal cleanup at City Island on September 21st, 8 to 11. So if you could come out and help, that'd be great. Then, I don't know why I always find this like the best thing ever, but hazardous waste collection, if you have any dry paint or liquids that you don't even know what belongs to anymore in your garage and you want to get rid of it, November 2nd, which is a Saturday from 9 to 1 at Public Works, you could drop it off. It's 950 Bellevue Avenue. Then the Ocean Center is having a Celebrate Volusia Festival. It's going to be at the Ocean Center. It's a free event, free parking. It will be held Sunday, October 6th from 2 to 5. So there will also be a free concert by Pablo Cruz, which I found out is not a person, but a band. So if you want to come and check it out, it seems like it's going to be a good time. There's going to be beach safety, police and EMT services, environmental efforts. So just to see what's going on in the county and also at the Ocean Center. And Commissioner May and I attended the Volusia Recovery Alliance walk on, was it Saturday? My gosh, the days just blend in. But it was really nice getting out in the community, taking a walk, hearing people's stories. The chief of police was there, the chief of the fire department, the gentleman Travis who runs our DART program, which is an outreach. So it was just really nice getting together with everybody and hearing their story and also seeing what services are offered in the community and that there is hope and support out there. And I think that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Commissioner Strick?
I've talked enough tonight. Thank you.
No, okay. Commissioner May?
So we will be having that community meeting sometime in October. I've had residents contact me from the Ridgewood area who wish to attend, and they have a list of some concerns. So I'll be looking forward to getting that date that we can agree to. I went to the Volusia Recovery Alliance event, and what did I think? I thought that the chief of police was eloquent. I thought it was well organized. I thought that Chief Driscoll spoke well on the services that we provide. I recognize that as a commission, we sometimes say, this is what we envision in our future. This is what we'd like for our entire city. In this situation, we're doing it. And what does that mean? We have the individuals who are there, and they are working toward recovery. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody is in recovery, whether it's from some sort of substance or relationships or finances or job loss or death. We're all in recovery for something. The community is there. We have a very strong recovery community. They meet, they have outings, they get together, they are a united team. Families were present. That was wonderful. But from a broader cultural context, the fact that we had a proclamation for that particular day and that we were present, I think spoke volumes, and that was led by this commission. We said that we believe in it and we're going to support it, and that's what we've done as a city beyond the community and beyond the individual. So thank you so very much for all of that.
All right. In October of 2023, we had a meeting here to discuss affordable housing. And during that meeting, Deputy Manager Morris stated that the agenda item before us tonight are the second phase of the city's affordable housing effort, and they have a provision for creating a trust which will receive funds and mitigation collections and donations to usually mitigate impacts on affordable housing. He stated that would be something that the ordinance can be produced and ready for commission consideration in probably 2 months. In respect to the ordinance to assess impact fees, it's going to take the normal production that you'd have for creation of an ordinance, workshops. There have been several community groups, both pro and con, regarding the subject. He stated that he would imagine there will be some workshops to take community input regarding how fees are assessed, what they're assessed on, and that sort of thing. That's part of implementing the Nexus study that we've already considered. He stated that he also listed several items that the city can work with in terms of other tools to provide affordable housing or assist affordable housing in the city. He stated that they also provided some census information regarding what's occurring with affordable housing in the city of Daytona Beach in commission items, and that's created roughly 250 units. We'll jump down to a little bit further in that same meeting. We, as a commission, was moved by Commissioner Parrish, second by Commissioner Reed, to go out for an RFP motion, and it was approved 7-0. Can anyone tell me where we are on this with regards to the RFP, with regards to bringing before this commission the capacity for us to be able to assess linkage fees?
The staff from Development Services and Neighborhood and Community and Neighborhood have engaged the Florida Housing Corporation to work on the study and the information to bring back to you all. They have done this in other areas throughout the state of Florida. They're the experts, and that information will be coming back to you all. I don't know if it's in the first meeting in October or the second meeting in October, but they have engaged the Florida Housing Corporation that does this, and they will be bringing something back to you. But I'll make sure to find out if it's going to be the first meeting in October or the second meeting.
Okay. Going back, I want to make sure I know what the date was of this meeting. Can't get to the topic quick enough. Yeah, October 18th, 2023. And so here we are in, what is this? Almost October in 2024. We got to do better.
Mayor, I think you all actually had a workshop in the last 3 months on this where we brought it back saying we were going to bring you all something back.
I know, but it's still a year later from this particular meeting. By now, I just want to know if we can, I'm ready to vote on whether we can have linkage fees.
Yeah, you can.
And what's the holdup on that? Is that legal for us to vote on that?
Well, linkage fees have to meet the test for impact fees under state law. And so the study that was already done, it showed the need for affordable housing. It didn't try to
link that need to the different types of development the way you would, for example, with impact fees, to be able to make this type of development pay so much and this other type of development pay, so much.
But we can do trust funds as a city.
Sure.
That's what we were recommending to do.
Right. We can set up a trust fund tomorrow that could be used to accept any kind of, donated funds or allocated funds that you all might allocate.
So let me just share something. Today, there was an AHAC meeting. I'm on the advisory board. And the redevelopment group, I think, were discussing bringing something with regard to linkage fees to commission. So I think it's in progress. I think they're working on it to give us something. They mentioned that today.
Okay.
Okay?
So you said we can do, what type of fund did you? Trust fund?
A trust fund.
So, and nothing prohibits us from doing that?
No.
So we could do a trust fund and then we could come back later and still do a linkage fee?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What does it take for us to establish a trust fund, and what is the benefit of that at this time? Where will we get the money to support that other than from the general fund?
One of the things that we said that we could do is use some of the remaining ARPA funds to start the trust fund. However, I was not here. I do think there's a developer that set aside funds for affordable housing that is still on the books.
That's true. They did, but, okay. So that would be a beginning point, is that those funds. But how will we, that's not a way to really fund anything. And how long is it gonna take before we can vote on linkage fees? What does it take? More? What else do we have to do?
You need to have the study in front of you that gives you legal justification for imposing the fees that you're gonna have. I don't know where that study's in process offhand.
And Florida Housing Coalition have done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're waiting on them, and that's my point. What else does staff need to do to have them? We voted at that meeting to put out an RFP.
They've already been engaged.
They've been engaged, they just don't want to do it?
Oh, no, they're doing the work now, and I think that's what.
Oh, they're doing the work? Is that
is
that what you're saying, they're engaged in the work?
Yeah.
Something at the commission about linkage fees, about linkage fees,
And this
yes.
is the Florida?
No, this is the AHAC meeting I went to. The city was planning on doing something. Yes.
Okay, that's the group.
And that's as of today.
And you think, when do you think they said this?
I couldn't tell you, but I will have Mr. Thomas contact us and tell us.
Tell us by
Yeah.
email.
Meeting in October, that's.
Okay. And I bring this up because, it's been a year. We said in that meeting 2 months. And I understand that sometimes it takes people a longer time to sign up for things. It seems like a lot of people, even consultants, don't want to work as much now as they used to. Consultants used to not be hard to find a good consultant. Well, not necessarily a good one, but a consultant. I digress. At any rate, okay, I will put that conversation on hold and look for
It'll be on the
conversation in the next agenda or two. October, preferably first or second meeting.
Oh, yeah, it'll be October.
October. Okay.
And she has
Yes, go ahead.
We have, no, don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. I just want to introduce you. We have two people who, again, the commission really enjoyed a presentation that was made last year by Ms. Dixie Morghese and Dr. McConnell, and it was about the Young Women's Conference that took place at Yvonne Scarlett Golden. They're doing it again this year. It's a one-day presentation. And Mr. Xavier, could you just put up the video, please? This is a overview. They go there in the morning. They have different presenters. They have different speakers. Could you use the next one, please? Have some sponsorships. They actually go out and collect funds, which is great. Last year we supported them also. Really great group of girls. I was there for some of it. They have great nonprofits. Move to the next one, please. But everything is pretty well young person centered in another part of the building, and I really enjoyed this. Ms. Dixie Morghese has the Parent Cafe, which we had spoken of quite highly, and they also engage in that. Next one, please. But it's a full day. Our firefighters are there, police officers are there too. Switch. Thank you. Move it on. Theme last year was a Hawaiian aloha theme, but they have different experiential activities they can engage in. Switch. And of course, dancing, my favorite. Switch. Great food. donated as well. And again, I believe we helped with that process last year. Keep going. Okay, keep going. Excellent. Thank you so much. And then please, during the comments, they will be coming forward, and I have provided some money just to get them going so they can get their project off the floor. But hopefully, we can be more helpful as a commission the way we were last year. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other comments from the commission? All right. If,
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
One more. Mr. Feature, can you tell me the process? What is the process and when does it start to put out RFP for the auditor that we will be selecting?
If you all direct us tomorrow to do an RFP or an advertisement, not an RFP, but an advertisement
Okay.
to salute, we will do that. We'll have to draft something from HR and you all will have to approve that.
Well, we would have more than one we can interview? Because, right, okay. Can we all do that? Go ahead and start and have them looking? Sure?
wait, go ahead.
Okay.
Does it have to be voted on because this wasn't one of the amendment changes?
Who we select has to be voted on.
No.
The charter is part, it was you all made, so it's part of the budget. So you all
Yes.
can decide if you want to do it tomorrow or do it 6 months from now.
But
It's not part of.
No, it's
It
not
wasn't.
part of that. Are you guys, everyone okay with that? Okay. So, do we have to make, do we need to make a motion on that?
Well, that would seal the deal.
Okay. Then I would like to make a motion for you to start looking or putting out the advertisement for an auditor for us to start interviewing.
If I can, I think the
Oh,
the
you
motion
can-
should probably be that they prepare the advertisement and job description for you all to approve. To have.
What he said.
Yeah.
Are we talking about an in-house auditor?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I second that motion.
All right, you have a motion, you have a second. We'll hear from public comments. No public comments? Any comments from the commission? All right, we got a motion and second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. All right, at this time, we will, I had one other comment. I forgot. Who was it? Did you say something, Commissioner?
No, I was just asking if we were going to hear from the manager.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Manager, do you have any comments?
Real quick, just to follow up from the earlier, October 7th is when we will have a presentation from staff on the P&L funds. November, you all asked about a branding workshop for neighborhoods and the branding. That will take place in November. October 16th, don't forget about the CRA workshop update and presentation. And September 26th, there will be a show and tell event for Jackie Robinson Ballpark at the ballpark. Any of these workshops that if you have information that you want us to be aware of or to get any additional information before the workshop, please contact my office for the staff to be able to bring that information to you for the workshop, for the CRA and the presentations, and for anything dealing with your branding.
Okay.
Okay. And will Letitia send that out so I can put that on my calendar?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank
Can you elaborate what's on September 26th for Jackie Robinson?
September, the groups is going to be talking with the public about what they think should be a part of the whole design for the Jackie Robinson Ballpark.
Volusia League of Cities dinner. Commissioner Parrish, you're committed to the Volusia League of Cities dinner on that night.
You're committed. You can meet with them one-on-one. You can meet with them one-on-one. Oh, you want to do it here? Yeah.
Whatever.
That's it.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Isn't there a recognition dinner for the mayor tomorrow night?
Yes, for those who's
It's Friday night.
For those who
Friday
signed up
night.
for it.
It's Friday. Okay. It's
Friday at the Art House.
Art House.
Commissioner Henry, are you attending? Friday night at the Art House.
The Art House.
We may be
I
out
need
of,
an address.
we may be out of, did you RSVP with Pam?
Yes, it's in my calendar, Mayor's Recognition Dinner.
I don't think you
But that's all I put.
RSVP.
Well, then I won't be there.
I didn't RSVP.
Well, how many ticket seats
I
do
have
we
to
have?
see.
Do we have any more seats?
If we have to get them, we'll make it.
Okay,
Reed and Henry.
okay. Yes, okay.
Yeah, you are.
All right, do we have any other comments from the commission? Maybe my other thought will come to me before we leave. Tonight, we will now hear from the residents of Daytona Beach.
Okay, our first speaker is Iris Johnson Quinn, and on deck is Dr. Sadie McConnor.
I'm free tomorrow night. Ooh.
Long time getting up here.
really?
I'm Dr. Sadie McConnor, and this is,
Dixie Morgese, 97 Treasure Lane.
okay,
Florida.
at 236 Palm Sparrow Court, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay, I'm sorry, before I let you speak, was there an Iris Johnson Quinn?
She was here earlier, she may be gone
I
Okay.
don't see her back there.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. We want to talk about the Mashana conference that have occurred in 2022 that was inspired by the textbook, the book Push Out and the film Push Out, and also inspired by our city commissioner, Paula Reed. We had a panel discussion at Bethune-Cookman University quite a few years ago, and we talked about it, and we showed it in the sorority meetings and stuff. And she suggested maybe we should do a conference or something and I took it and ran with it. And we had we came in 2022 and asked the commission, and you all were very supportive of it, and so that's why we were able to show so many nice things that we were able to do for the young ladies here. It's called Mashana, which is Swahili for girl. And I'm also working on actually doing another collaborative program that will be for young men as well. So the young ladies are from 11 to 18 years of age, and the young men are going to be in the same age range. So, and it's a collaborative effort, and we'll talk about some more of it.
Okay, so this year, our keynote speaker is going to be 2022 Times Woman of the Year, Jenny Joseph. She's going to be talking about women's health, advocacy for Black maternal health, and speaking up for yourself and for others when it comes to taking care of ourselves. It's free of charge to all young women who would like to attend. It'll be at the Yvonne Scarlett Golden Center on Saturday, November the 16th, and we do have some save the date flyers that we'll leave with you. And this year we're doing health, wealth, and happiness. Health is about self-care, staying healthy, and learning to reflect on where you've been so you know where you're going. The second is wealth, dressing for success. So we'll have a business casual fashion show, and also education, career, and managing money. And then happiness, healthy relationships with friends, family, and romance. We're going to have a panel discussion, a community cafe with our youth, and students from Bethune-Cookman will be facilitating, and they've all been trained in the cafe model now. So they will be facilitating the cafe. And we'll also be doing a parent cafe, so the parents have an activity while their young people are learning. And so last year, we had about 70 youth that came, and their parents came, and it was a wonderful day, and you all really did support it. And I think Commissioner Reed, Commissioner Henry, and Commissioner May all came to see what we were doing there. And the girls had a wonderful time. Students were able to donate their time and see, what a really good community activity could look like. So, and it's a beautiful facility. And so we hope you all will be able to attend and support us. So.
You allow men to attend?
We actually had, the DJ was a man. We had some of the tables, because we do have sponsor tables, about 20 of them, and they all sponsor at $100 each. So a couple of those tables were facilitated by men.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was women and girls. And we had we had dads in the cafe, so.
11 to 17?
11 to 18.
11 to 18. Okay. I'll donate $250 from Bike Week funds to this cause. which I believe is a great cause.
Yes,
What's the date again?
November 16th.
And when you
And I don't know
guys
if I
get
can-
ready to do the,
The young men,
yeah, I will.
I saw your eyes light up when I
Yeah,
said that.
yeah, they lit up. That's right.
That's when you really give, huh?
Well, I can't, I don't feel that I should come to this one.
You don't,
But that one, I will come to.
You could do a photo op. We
Mrs.
do have a
Mrs.
step and
Mrs.
repeat.
Henry can come to this one for sure.
She sure can.
And so can Little.
She's not 11.
She's not 11 yet? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's 8. Yeah.
She's not 11, she's 21. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your budget looking like?
Well,
If we want to do it the right way, it's
Wait.
going to cost us about $4,000. But a lot of the things are done in kind. We're working on Cubco for any shirts. Commissioner May is helping us with the facility, so that we were able to take off our budget. The photographer usually does some stuff in kind. The DJ usually gives us at least half the fee in kind. And some of the things we had from last year, like the step and repeat and things like that, we've been able to use them again this year. So we probably need to raise about another $2,000.
yeah. Because the members of the committee, we had T-shirts made, we had from last year, we can wear the same T-shirts again. But we do need to get the bags. We really try to make it look really like a conference. So we have the young ladies at registration table get a bag with the logo on it, and we do need some more bags and some more books, because we did give away quite a few of the books. We do have an affirmation on a bookmark so that they can, while they're reading the book, they can keep that in mind.
And we give them a daily planner. And so it's just a bag full of items, also personal hygiene items, because we talk a little bit about our bodies.
I'd like to give $1,000 from my bike week funds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Read bike week 1,000.
1,000, bike week?
All right.
I'll do 250.
250?
Thank you.
Thank you.
250 bike week funds.
And the men can come for a photo shoot. You can stop by for lunch too.
No, you don't want to come for a photo shoot?
And we'll bring these back on the next agenda.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I also received a message from Dr. Carbiner today.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
about the clinic.
The birthing center?
Do you want? No.
I told her, I don't want to talk about it or anything. She
You don't
told
wanna
me
talk
that
about it at
was
all?
kind of like, I don't think you all are ready to talk about it. But when you're ready to talk about it,
Okay.
I'll be ready to be supportive and promote it and support it. So that's where I am.
Thank you.
I'm with you,
Okay.
100%, always. Okay.
That'll definitely put Daytona Beach on the map in reproductive health. It will.
And that's the Jenny Joseph model.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
her
Yeah.
easy access model.
Okay.
So-
All right. All right, anyone else? We got to make sure that folks can have babies in the world in a safe and, I don't know what other word to use other than safe, but supportive is the
Right.
word that we should use.
All women should be heard.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
These are all coming out of bike week funds.
Yes, bike week.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Our next speaker tonight is John Nicholson, and on deck is Thomas Russell.
John Nicholson, 413 North Granbury Avenue. For the last several months, I've been telling the county council the need to get involved in the city of Daytona Beach, to give us money to clean up their act, to clean up the bathroom right next to the Marriott Renaissance, which will open up in about a week. I hope you all go, but the bathroom is in terrible condition, no grass around it, and if we're going to have a four-star restaurant, a four-star hotel with a great restaurant, we need to have the amenities around it as well. So I'm asking you to contact the county, George, Matt, our representative from that area, and Jeff, the chairman, asking that that building be upgraded and match the building next door. Also, the city needs to clean up its own property. We have several properties that are in terrible distressed condition. I happen to use the bathroom at Breakers Park. It is rusting. It is a little bit shabby. That is where most of our people go. Also, I heard that they're thinking about taking out the splash pad. So if they take out the splash pad, what amenity does the park have? It is really something we should be able to maintain. I've been driving through downtown, and if you are on Beach Street and you look west on Magnolia, it's a fantastic street. All right, they spent time because of the farmers market to fix up the street. We're going to fix up ISB. Orange Avenue has been fixed up. If you go next street, it's Bay Street. All you see is wires across the back. No median, no nothing. It looks terrible. You go up to the next street, MMB, we're planning on redoing it when we do Beach Street. So we'll be left with one street that looks terrible. I'm asking you to consider and plan for the future by planning on redoing that street and also Beach Street from Main Street all the way to the city limits in Holly Hill. That also looks terrible, but it has a future. That area will be filled eventually with high-rises, apartments. So I'm asking us to plan it in the future because it takes like 10 years to get some of this stuff done. So I'm asking you to look at that. And lastly, I didn't mean to imply that Mr. Fiat wasn't doing the right thing. It's just that we keep asking for things. And the more we ask, the further we go into debt. He's just doing what he's asked to do. So I'm asking us to watch what we ask for. Thank you.
That's a good point, John. Costs
Okay,
money
our
to do
next,
things.
our next speaker is Thomas Russell, and on deck is Frederick Brown.
Thomas Russell, 630 North Beach Street, the real North Beach Street, part of the Maluro CRA. You're going to get tired of hearing me about this. I look at the numbers and it just blows my mind. A payroll of a budget of 290,000 and a payroll expense of 182,000. Who is responsible for approving that? Is it the city manager? Is it somebody that waved a wand? I am not going to leave this go. My father once told me some of the best jobs you can get are working for the government. It's not your salary, it's the benefits. All right, it's the retirement. You got, I can't comprehend it. These kind of numbers from that CRA. Somebody's putting it where it shouldn't be or hiding where it's going. I brought it up a couple of years ago and then I let it go because I got busy. My building flooded, I lost my tenants, but I still got my tax bill. All right, there's a place called Root Canal. Does everybody know where that is? Anybody doesn't know? All right, it's between Seabreeze Bridge and literally about halfway down to Main Street Bridge. It floods, and it floods because the drainage water goes in to the root canal, which hasn't been dredged in probably 40 years. And then the river water backs up, it floods into the root canal. There's no place for the drainage water to go. I happened to go by my building today and I looked, there it is. The water is right to the top of the drain. We had high tides. That's the explanation. But when the water is up to the top of the drains, when we really don't have a storm, something's got to be done. And just, I mean, I hear people saying, okay, going to spend this money, going to spend that money. And I agree, you have to have a good police force, but that $50,000 isn't what that cop's costing you. It's another 25,000 in benefits. You have to look at the total package. All right, I'm all for more police. All right, if you want to reduce the budget, go to the people that control it. That's the people at the bottom level. Where can we save money? The mayor can write them a personal letter. Say, let me know, where do you think we can save money? They don't have to put their name on it. If you ask the guy at the top, he's going to say, get rid of the lower paid guy down at the bottom. All right, so that's my speech. But I'm going to beat on this till I get all the details on where that money's going. And I got 5 seconds. Thank you for your time. Sorry to keep you late.
Thank you. You're all right.
Our next speaker is Frederick Brown, and on deck is Ann Ruby.
The great Fred Brown.
Frederick Brown, 1508 Crescent Ridge, Daytona Beach. Mr. Mayor, I was glad to hear you make some really good observations. It almost seems like you realize that capitalism is much better than socialism. It's hard to find good employees that are willing to work. Unfortunately, we went through a tough time there, and a lot of people still haven't recovered. Commissioner Cantu, often you and I aren't on the same page. A lot of times we are. Tonight, definitely on the same page. And for those of you listening in the outside world, if you listen to the whole long meeting, the lowest paid people in this room, Commissioner Cantu, the rest of the commissioners. Often we have over $1 million worth of salaries in this room. So yes, some of that should be considered in the budget. And for those of you citizens of Daytona Beach that might be listening, our local newspaper publishes all the salaries, I think it's every December, and it's percentages over the national average. So some of the points you brought up are well taken. With all that covered, I want to once again bring up the beach access across from the streamline. I've asked that you visit it somewhere between the tattoo parlor and the smoke shop, which seems to be what we like to have here in Daytona. For the average citizen trying to get through there, they pretty much got it blocked off. City needs to do something. They need to paint it solid and put some signs in there that says no parking in the public walkway. I brought this up numerous times about flooding, and of course that was also pointed out in the root canal. Hopefully you all know where that is. There's a root canal outflow. All of our car dealerships in the areas west of there all drain into that root canal and help flood that area. And of course, all that money got transferred right on out. Again, I commend Russell for bringing this up, and I hope he continues to do so. I only get 3 minutes. I'm also going to remind the city, the money that you're spending in City Island for the baseball is great, but the citizens are losing. Again, our tennis courts, there's money there. I think there can be some creative design work to get it done, and also for the beach volleyball. Daytona Beach, the world's most famous beach, is about beach events. With over 500 members in the group, it needs attention. I also want to again bring up the strong desire, since I live in Zone 1 with no parks. We have this property at 2010 South Peninsula. I'd like to see it be brought up before this commission be made in a park. We already own it. Let's do something, and let's prevent the owners from south of it from infringing on the property and stripping the foliage. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ann Ruby, and on deck is Pierre Lewis. I'm good. You're good? Our next speaker is Pierre Lewis.
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. I didn't even know I had any extra comments until I was thinking of something that Commissioner Cantu brought up earlier. As people know me, I'm a fitness guy. I work out quite a bit at the weight room. I usually like to utilize facilities that are there. I also use this pool all the time. I got back issues, so the pool is very therapeutic for me. The problem is now the pool used to be open every day. Now it isn't anymore. So I had to rearrange my schedule for it. I don't mind. I can adjust. But what was brought to my attention was now instead of being open like Monday through Fridays, I went in the afternoons. Now it's only open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and possibly Saturdays. Reason being is because the gentleman told me he had to get rid of 5 employees that were there. budget cuts, that's probably it. But fire employees, because he said what was going on was that they were getting paid a little more than minimum wage, and then they dropped them $2 or $3 down because after the summer they got a certain amount of pay, and then after that, and then young people said, well, or not just young, not just little, not young adult, but young adults too. They said, why should I work and get a job at Burger King that's making just that amount of salary? What I'm saying is that when you start looking at, I guess, budgeting and stuff like that, I wanted to at least let you know that there are those of us that like the pool at Campbell Pool. Sometimes Cypress gets a little bit busy because they will have the schools that are utilizing the pools. They've allowed, well, not allowed, but they're using some of the schools, so their entire swim teams are there. And if you're trying to get your own laps in there, if an entire school has got the pool taken up, you can't really get your laps in, probably. The same with the gym. Now they got the gym where they got the schools are taken up. I use it in the morning. They come in, they're there for, we're all about the kids do this stuff. I got that. But when they take it over for a full 2 hours and 3 hours, if you're balancing your own business schedule and you know it's usually open at that time, that makes it kind of hard, especially when you're a guy that, I believe in health and fitness. But the bottom line is what I'm just trying to say is that those 5 individuals, I know who they were, that they had to probably let go because of salaries. Now they couldn't pay them minimum wage or whatever they lost and stuff like that. I hope when you're thinking about the budget for next year, as you're writing stuff like that, you think about those little small ancillary type of jobs that are there, because there are some of us that in the community, we like utilizing the city services. So I'm glad that our tax dollars are paying for stuff like that, like the pool and the gym and the walkway and all those things like that. I'm glad that we got them, but just take into account that there are residents that really use those services and really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our final speaker tonight is Steve Miller.
Steve Miller, 383 Walnut Street. In fact, I forgot to put this on there, but I want to thank the commission for the waiving of some of the fees and the impact fees. You can imagine how that's going to help people in trying to build a house. And even I got a chance to mention you guys at a debate I was having. They asked me a question about what can we do about the housing situation in Volusia County, and I said we could do exactly what Daytona Beach has done. They've given some properties to nonprofits, and right now they even waiving impact fees. So if we did that all over the county, that would be amazing. It would be a lot of people that actually have homes. So thank you guys for that tip. But I was at the Deja Stocking Park. It is a beautiful park. And I think this was the last musical series that we have. I wouldn't have a problem if we had another 7 or 8 more out there, Mr. Fiacher, Mr. Mayor. We've really been enjoying that park. It looks great. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that, Mayor, thank you for accepting the invitation to come to our neighborhood watch meeting next month. I've already put it on the schedule. I actually wrote Daytona Times so they can put it in there so everybody can come and listen to you.
What day is that?
The second Monday of each month, sir. I seen your note there. In fact, I called your secretary here at the City Hall to make sure that you don't miss that.
What time is it?
No, the second Monday.
What time?
6:30. 6:30, sir.
Okay.
And, oh, by the way, I don't know whether I mentioned that. My name is Steve Miller. I'm running for County Council District 2. Thank you for voting for me.
Yes, sir. All right, Daytona Beach, we appreciate you. We cherish you. Continue to be great.